you can take your hands out of your pocket. I got no vitamins, I got no pills, I got nothing to give you, okay, other than some information, okay? And so I'm going to do that with you tonight. And basically what's going to happen is, what we're going to cover is who we are, what we do, and why so many people are joining us right now. I'll tell you up front that I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney, this is year 20 for me, and so I know what happens personally when people don't have adequate representation. I see it every day in court. I'm a trial lawyer. I work for the U.S. Attorney's Office, which means I'm a federal prosecutor. So I get to prosecute those folks who might decide they don't want to follow the law. So that's where I come in, and that's what I do on a daily basis. And so I just want to tell you up front that you can relax, because what I'm going to tell you today, no matter what you decide, this is not going to be a financial decision. All right, I'm just going to get that up front. Whether you do this, whether you don't, whether you protect your family or whether you don't, whether you join our team or whether you don't, it will not be a financial decision. Okay? Now, here's what's going to happen. I promise you, I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. I'm just going to share some information with you. And in return, I just ask that you don't try to convince me either, because I've used the service far too often for you to convince me that it doesn't work, and I've made far too much money for you to tell me that the opportunity doesn't work. Okay? So deal? All right. So here we go. Let me ask you these questions, and you don't have to raise your hand. I was never one for raising my hand, so I'm not going to ask you to do that. But just ask yourself, have you ever signed a contract or a document? Okay? For those of you who drove here today, you signed a document, unless you drove here without a license. But if you have a license, then you signed a document. If you live somewhere, you sign a document. If you work somewhere, you sign a document. If you breathe, you sign a document. That's just kind of how it works. Have you been overcharged or treated unfairly? I don't know about Palm Beach County, but if you've been in Broward County for more than 10 or 15 minutes, then you've been overcharged or treated unfairly. It's just kind of how we do things up there. Have you ever received a traffic ticket? Now, some of you probably should have gotten a traffic ticket on your way here tonight. But just in the back of your mind, just think about these things. If any of these things have ever happened to you. Have you ever known a victim of identity theft? On I-95, there's a sign. I think the name of the company is Identity Guard. And what that sign says is, last year, 13 million people had their identity stolen. 13 million. Wow. Now, I'm kind of a numbers guy. I like playing with numbers. So I divided 13 by like 365 to see how many a day that would be. And it was like 2,500 a day. Wow. And I divided it again by 60 to see how many there were an hour. I divided it again. It's 2 a second.
Wow.
Wow.
It just happened. It just happened again. So every 2 seconds in this country last year, someone's identity was compromised. Wow. And so it's not a matter of if. Identity theft is only one of 3 places. It's either at your door, it just left, or it's on its way. And unfortunately, that's just the way it works. Okay? And then lastly, have you ever been in a situation where you thought the advice of a lawyer might be useful? Now, most times we don't think about that, because the advice of a lawyer is going to cost us so much that we really don't think about calling a lawyer, because we sort of have to, check our checkbooks before we check our rights. But if any of these things, if you can say yes to any of those things, then the bottom line is you need Legal Shield. Why? Because Legal Shield gives you the ability to talk to a lawyer on any matter without worrying about high hourly costs. Okay? For one flat monthly fee, you can access legal advice no matter how traumatic or trivial. So it doesn't matter if, your neighbor kicked your dog. It doesn't matter if your landlord's trying to kick you out of your apartment. It doesn't matter if a wealthy relative of yours kicked the bucket and has got some land that they left for you. Any of those matters and anything in between are going to be covered for one flat monthly fee. So under the protection of Legal Shield, you and your family can live your life on your terms, worry-free, every day and every night. We're going to have a quick video just explaining about who we are and what we do, and I'll be back right after the video.